Okay, the easiest way to do it is to build a circuit where you can, like you may have a very, very small resistor in series with the wiring. Or actually, if you're looking at AC power, you can, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those amp meters. It's got like a clamp to go around the wire.
Right.
If you do that, if you measure the current, the product of the current and the voltage is the power. And so what you can do is you can measure that power. You can measure it when there is no system to shut it down, and then measure it when there is a system.
Right.
And so you can get okay.
But then we have to compare that to a regular computer.
Right. See, so, and my point to you is, you take that current in the product, the current and the voltage, and look at both cases, and what you're going to find when the thing is shutting down is going to be less. Okay, so it's a good question, and probably a pretty common question for most systems. But yeah, again.
But it's real feasible though.
It's feasible. It's definitely feasible. But I was hoping you guys would add some more features to the smart desk, because the more stuff you added, the easier it would be to do what we were talking about.
Right.
Then you go into the local news and you can talk about.
That's a projected idea, but we should at least try to get requirements for the class.
So you said, I want to graduate. You think we're about to come later? Right.
I mean, hopefully, we get on the schedule that we have planned with the parts get in, we get hit the ground rolling, we can finish before March comes, and at least finish with everything working. Not necessarily like the neatly packaged and all that other stuff, but at least finish with sensor working, hook up to the computer, doing something before March.
So how far are you guys from getting the USB stuff working?
Well, Donovan is still researching with DOS. We're meeting with DOS next Monday, but it's coming up Monday to tackle the main issue with that, because DOS was really kind of tied up. So once he meets with him on that, we'll kind of know the best way to do that. So that's with the computer.
I mean, there might be something that somebody's already done out there.
Right. I mean, but that's what, like, him and Donovan have been talking back and forth about that. We got the meeting scheduled Monday, so we'll find out in more detail what the next step is as far as crazy. What type of enclosure can we build? Like, what type of because we want to package it, neatly. What type of
well, remember we looked at one case last semester.
Yeah.
The silver case.
Yeah.
I heard about that.
Yeah, but remember,
too small?
Well, no. The question was how were we going to capture the heat from the person? Because remember, one idea was to touch the box or have your hand on the box. But then I think you guys you got a new circuit, so I'm assuming that if it's, for example, like infrared.
Yeah, this is all motion, so
right.
It doesn't need to be touched.
Well, right. Well, the point is, if it's like that, you can actually have it. It could be like a thing on the desk, and if you sit in front of it, it's going to capture the heat energy from your body.
Right, because we're planning on using the Fresnel lens too, so we're trying to find a way to build an enclosure that has the lens, and it has enclosed. The lens, of course, being on the outside, and the sensor and everything kind of enclosed within it. So we're trying to take it.
Yeah, but still, the problem we were talking about before can still happen, where the sun, or a bunch of heat. But let's say that this thing is. Let's say you got a room with a heating system, and for whatever reason the desk is very close to it. If that area becomes very warm, the system can actually misinterpret that as, okay, this is a person when it actually is not.
But the way the sensor is, like the way the sensor itself is built, you have to pass through the whole sensor like in a horizontal motion.
So the person got to move, or if it's that. Yeah, but the problem with that is that, and I'm sure you've seen that in this building where they had these motion sensors. You go into like a bathroom and you don't move around for, over a certain amount of time, the lights automatically go back home.
Right.
And that if you don't watch out, your system will do the same thing. Right. It'll come on when you sit down, but if you're inactive, let's say I'm just sitting here talking to you and I'm not doing anything, it's going to think.
Can we program that though to be, because that's technically how regular computer works. You program the functions if you're inactive for a long time, go to sleep. So.
Well, yeah, you can do that. You can do that, but it can be bad because every time the computer has to wake up, sometimes it may take a while, depending on the application. Let's say you got an application where it's searching a disk.
Right.
Okay, when it shuts down, the search process will stop. So let's say you got to look at 10,000 files. It'll look at 20 files, shut down, and when it wake up, it'll start looking at files again. And my point is, going to sleep and waking up can cause it to take a long time to do something because it keeps going to sleep. You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
But like, I just thought that could be solved by just lengthening the time.
Well, you can do that, but by in effect saying, if you wake up for at least 10 minutes. Okay. But again, the problem with that idea is that if the person has that idle time over and over again, it'll go 10 minutes and then shut down. Because you've seen screensavers do it. It'll run for whatever the time. Because if you look at most screensavers, they'll sit there and ask you how much time you want to wait before the screensaver come up. And if you make it 10 minutes, it might be fine. But if you stop and start talking, and then it's more than 10 minutes, and you look back around, this thing's gonna stop doing what it was supposed to do. So it's a partial solution, but it's still not an ideal solution.
So what would ideal solution be?
To me, a more ideal solution is what we were talking about before. For example, and I think you guys mentioned this initially, it's something like if a person sitting in a chair, you measure weight, or the contact of the person's skin with the desk or whatever, where it knows absolutely the person is still there, whether they're active or not. You know what I mean?
I was thinking before, and we talked about putting the sensor under the desk, and if it does work, like as far as depending on how it's placed, when when the person needs it on the desk, it to be overly sensitive, and keep it on like that. I'm not sure how that would work. Because if it just reads the signal and then sends it, I don't know if it keeps reading it after. If something is still there. Like
well, if it's measuring heat, it will continue to measure it. But if it's looking at motion, where the thing has to change, then you're going to have a problem.
Okay.
And also, you guys got to realize, too, when a computer goes to sleep, there's more than one kind of sleep for a computer. I don't know if you know that. You can have like a really deep sleep where it's like really low energy, and then you can have something that's more like a real light sleep. So you got these different levels of sleep, and the amount of energy used, depending on where you are, it's going to be different. See, so what you can do is actually make the system, depending on what the case is, go to a very deep sleep, or go to a sleep that's not so deep. Like this thing where you're saying 10 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, then you go to like a light sleep. And then if it go 15, then you go to a deeper sleep. And you see what I'm saying? You keep going deeper and deeper, the longer the duration is between activity and inactivity. Then you got to realize in the classroom, long periods where this inactivity is possible. Because let's say you're lecturing, the guy's lecturing, and you're just sitting in front of this thing, right? So then do you want it to go to sleep or what? And then when he starts, then he's okay. The professor might say, okay, now let's start working on the machines. You want it to be there instead of to be sleep or whatever. So it just depends.
Also, what other devices can be used like that do the same things in one shot? Because I had difficulty finding it.
A one shot?
Yeah.
Well, a 555 timer can you use to make a one shot? I'm sure Mr. Eubank must have some, right?
Yeah. A lot of groups last semester use them.
You can also use a couple of transistors to do.
Okay. Because I know a lot of websites I found that they didn't have any in stock, or like they were obsolete, like with that particular model. So
you got to realize with the computer revolution, a whole lot of stuff is just gone because nobody does it anymore. Right. When I was you guys' age, they had all these stores. They had all kind of hardware, all this stuff. You could build all kind of stuff. Those things are gone. And I don't know if you guys saw that. I read a story last year, and they were talking about Radio Shack potentially going out of business this year. Yeah. Wow. I mean, think about it. I don't know how they stay open now. Think about it. Who goes to Radio Shack for anything? Nobody.
That's what you said about Blockbuster, like joking about how Blockbuster is out of business.
Yeah.
And you got Redbox.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Netflix.
I got Netflix. I think today. But yeah.
Redbox or Netflix. Let's see. One shot.
What's the average time wait for parts? Like, how long did you wait last time?
About. Well, it depends on where it's coming from. I think like 2 to 4 days.
Okay.
So we ordered it when?
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So it should.
I ordered some from Michigan. I remember it was a place I used, high school, and I ordered from that place. Like the other half of the parts, so Michigan, man.